Hang on. Folks. So there you go. That's what happens when you go live. Listen, it's our Thursday show, and we've just gone simulcast. So for those people who have just jumped on board from the radio network, that's fine. Thank you very much for coming. You're on the YouTube channel Radio FM 88 Australia. You can go onto Facebook Radio FM 88 Australia. You can go to X on Radio FM 88 Aussie. Afterwards, the show's replayed on those channels, but also Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, and Amazon. Anyway, without further ado, from a wet and cold Brisbane, it's hug boot country, it's jumper country, unbelievable. Not used to this, but I'm heading it back to the UK, and of course they're coming into their summer season. So, welcome to Priti.
Hello, and good morning. I think it's hilarious because what you're describing as the weather in Australia is the weather here in England. And the temperature's not hugely high either. Plenty of rain to go about and keep everything lush and green. So I understand we have Robyn. Hello, Robyn.
Hello, how are you? I'm wonderful.
Very good.
How are you?
Very good indeed. Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. All the better for seeing you, my dear, as the wolf said to the what was her name? I've forgotten her name in the fairy story. Little Red Riding Hood. That's what it was. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how you came to get into the world of homeopathy and Australian bushflower remedies from a once upon a time corporate life.
Yeah, quite a while back now. It was about 1997. I was a computer operator, and I was looking after the computer centre, and they sort of offered me a large 100,000s to resign, and I took it, but I had to sign a form to say I wouldn't work in computers for 2 years. So in that 2 years, I was looking for what I want to do without working on computers, and I started working in health and healing, and it just was lovely. I just loved it. So I started doing massage and, and I sort of fell into homeopathy. In Canberra, there was a homeopathic store in Kingston that taught homeopathy, and I couldn't get there quick enough, and I was there every week learning homeopathy. And then my son became a bit of an addict. He got hooked into that heroin thing when he was about 20, and I was offered to go. If I went to New York, he'd train me free in this home detox that he was teaching professors at the Lincoln Hospital in New York. So I said yes. So I went, and I trained for about 6 weeks learning home detox, which was acupuncture for the ears, and how to get people off heroin. Not heroin, that was over there, it was all cocaine. So they're all lined up. And I turned up one morning, and this line was right down the road, round the corner, and I started getting abused for jumping the queue. And they said, oh, no, she's the pin lady. So I got in, and I pinned everybody up. It was until you get there early in the morning, you don't realise how many people come to get their ears pinned. And it was just a fabulous alternative. And, I even did children there. There were people who'd come with their kids, and you wouldn't pin their ears. You'd put this little magnetic bead on the Shenmen point. And one morning they were so noisy, I said, draw me a circle, square, and a triangle. And then I came back 5 minutes later, and I said, you've got to put a bead on their ears so they could sit down and be quiet. And they were so quiet. I came back and I said, draw me another circle, square, triangle. And those circle, square, triangles were completely different. So the beads made a huge difference. So when I came back to Australia, I went to a detox centre and told them what I'd learnt, and asked could I practice there, because I had to do 100 cases as part of my qualifications and things. And they were happy. But when my time finished and I said, I've done my 100 now, they said, no, we don't want you to go. And they decided they'd pay me to stay. So I stayed about 6
Right.
years. But everything I did, I was doing to try and get my son off heroin, which I was working on his friends and people at the detox, but I never worked on him. He wouldn't. Anyway, he was about 10 years clean before he died. But he did try, but he went on methadone, and methadone, he had an accident on methadone. He used it and he shouldn't have, and it killed him. So it didn't work for him. But no, I did it. My first lot of homeopathy and working with homeopathy was all with drug addicts, getting them off drugs and using this to get them off heroin. And then when I went to New York and learnt home detox, it was just wonderful. It was sort of 5 acupuncture points on the ears. So when I was doing it 6 years later, I added meditation, and I'd give them homeopathy as well. So they all got through their 5 days to detox. And once, of course, you do a 5-day detox, you can go to the big 3-month rehab. But it was just getting through that 5 days that homeopathy, nux vomica, they wouldn't come in after a while unless they could get nux vomica and treatment. But yeah, so adding the meditation to the 5 beads in the ears made a huge difference too. So yeah, it was huge. And that was the start of me doing healing. And then eventually I left Canberra and came to Queensland and worked with my mum. And then I decided, well, I need to be qualified. So I went to university and did a biomedical detox. And then I went back and did another 4 years at homeopathy. So, yeah, so I put a lot of study into it. Yeah, but it was trying to get my son off heroin that got me started, and working with all his friends. And I'd have friends just come up from everywhere wanting to detox treatment. So yeah, I detoxed a lot of his friends. It works.
Okay. And it sounds like you did have some success with your son, because you said he was clean for, was it 9 years before he died?
Yes, he was clean off and on. Most of that last 9 years he was clean, so that was good. Yeah, I had to stay down there though. He had a blood disease in the end, and it was sort of very taxing, and eventually took him. Yeah, but yes, it worked for him. It took him. I'd put the acupuncture pins in, and he'd sit there and just relax. It was something that he could really relax when you put the pins in. So it's just wonderful. And I used a lot of homeopathy on him.
You used a lot of
homeopathy. I used a lot of homeopathy for him. Yes, used a lot of treatment. Yeah.
And you communicate with animals too?
I do. I've had a lot of success with animals. I had my sister-in-law's dog. She couldn't afford to pay to get it down. They wanted a couple of $100, and I said, "Oh, I'll give him some arsenicum. That'll knock him out, and just bury him in the backyard." And she said, "Oh, that was wonderful." So I gave him arsenicum, and the next day was a new little puppy. It was bright as anything. He'd just overcome everything. So whatever was wrong with him was obviously a poisoning, because arsenicum's a pretty strong poisoning drug. So yeah, I had a couple of successes with animals. So yeah, he lived another 2 years after being told she was told he had to be put down. He was dying, yeah, but he obviously had been poisoned. So yeah, homeopathy works for animals too. And I have a friend who has a cat. I do a lot of work with her cat, and she's now happy with her cat. So yes, I've worked with it. Homeopathy works well for animals too. Yeah, the cat and the dog.
Is it? And tell me, how did the homeopathy lead you into the Australian bushfire remedies? They're one of my favourites, to be fair.
Yes. Well, when I was working in the detox centre, I mean, people had come in, and because you had clients and you didn't know what drugs they were coming off, what they had taken, what they didn't, I used to give them the Australian bushflower cards, and they're 90%. And you'd give them their cards, and you'd say, "Please shuffle the cards and just ask the cards to tell you what your body needs." And they'd sort of think, "Oh, she's a bit stupid." But anyway, those cards were always 90% accurate. I'd say 99. They were just so brilliant, so accurate. And they would pick up what was wrong with them and why they needed cards, and they'd be back the next day, sitting there before I got to work, waiting for their cards again. And I'd say choose 3.
Right.
So, yes, sometimes they'd have 3 a day. They were just so into the cards. And when they went over to the see, we had them in detox for 5 days, and then they were allowed to go to the bigger rehabs. And when they got to the bigger rehabs, they wouldn't go without their cards. And if they couldn't take their cards, they weren't going. And the other place would say, no, she's got alcohol in them. And then so I had to get to a stage where I made bushflower cards with no alcohol. And I think I rang the bushflower centre up, and they told me to use I think it was glucose or something. So, yeah. And now if I don't use alcohol, I use colloidal silver in some. So, yeah, there are some people who you cannot put alcohol in, and they work just as well without the alcohol. They just can't. They don't last as long. But yeah, no, I had to remake them all because they wouldn't go and they wouldn't leave. They wouldn't leave the premises, and they wouldn't go in until they had their remedies to take with them. So they were very attached to their remedies. And do you know, you'd get clients and you don't know why they're drug addicts or why they were using or what they needed, and it was always spot on. And there was one fellow. He said, my father's paid 5 psychiatrists. Do you really think you can find something for me? I said, I don't know. Let's try. Yeah. So we pulled out 3 cards, and I said, it basically says you're using because you're bored. And he said, well, yeah, I am. I said, well, there you go. So they're pretty right, aren't they? And he said, yes. They were always right. Yeah. And those cards got them through from Monday to Friday. Yes. You'd have to swear by.
Yes, I can remember. I can remember in the past, I studied a lot of buckflower remedies, but when it actually came to using something, it was Australian bush, that far more intuitive. And I remember one time looking at Black-Eyed Susan. Whoa! And that I had quite a reaction to that, and we went with there. Did you ever meet Ian Wright?
I did on a course once. Yes, he was lovely. Long hair and a bit of a chauvinist type man, but he was lovely. Yeah, I did meet him once. Yeah, and he was quite impressed. I met him.
Yeah, I met him in London. And I was at a crossroads in my studies, and I thought I wanted to go on and study all of the Australian bushflower remedies because I'd done the buckflower remedies, and it seemed to me to be a natural progression. And we went out into a big field outside the college, and we formed a huge big circle, and everyone was to introduce themselves. And I was standing right next to him, and I thought, oh, my God, I'm going to have to say something immediately. But he went in the other direction, and I was the last, and everyone was introducing themselves. And in that morning, I realised I actually didn't want to study the Australian bushflower remedies, and he just brought out the white light essences of all the different chakras.
Yes.
And I went, that's why I'm here. I'm only here to meet you so that I can say hello and goodbye, because I'm not going to do the Australian bushflower remedies. They held a great.
Yes, you're so drawn to them. You're either drawn to these or drawn to the bushflower. I found I had to choose between them, and I came to the bushflowers. But it's very strong, that drawing. You just go to where you're drawn, and it just pulls you. I know what you mean. Yes.
Yeah. So I then went on and I did all the white light essences, and they have music with them as well. And it was just a beautiful combination. But you're right. I thought I was drawn to Australian bushflower remedies, and of course I've used them quite a bit myself. But when it came to the punchline, I went off
Yeah.
to the white light essences and used them for quite some time afterwards.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
powerful. All these essences are very powerful. I find them all. I
Yeah.
haven't got into the white lights. I just stay with the bush flower, and then I've got my
Yeah.
homeopathy too. So yeah, but I
Well,
just
they're quite
find
exquisite. Mm.
yes, I do the bush flower when the church, the Bethania, where do I live? Bethania Church. We have a church thing the last Sunday of the month. We do a healing day, and people come for healing. And I find I do the bush flower cards because they're quick and easy, and you can just you're never wrong, and you can pick 3 cards, and it's always the right cards for someone. Whereas if you're trying to do a healing, you've only got 5-10 minutes, and you want to do something accurate, you put your hands on their shoulders, and then I give them the cards to shuffle and ask them to choose 3 cards that their body needs for healing today. And I just stand there with my hands on the shoulders, and I get all these messages coming through my head telling me, oh, they've got digestive issues, they've got this, they've got that, that'll be right for them, that'll be right for them. And I get them to choose 3 cards, and sure enough, they're the cards they choose. And pretty much always spot on for what they need. And, you might only have somebody there for 5-10 minutes, and they've got the perfect remedy. That's always perfect. I'm never wrong. And then you can show them what they've got, and you can read the back. And does that sound like that'd be right for you? And, oh, yes, that's perfect. Thank you. And off they go. So I'm happy with them. I mean, in my clinic, yes, I'll prescribe homeopathic remedies and things like that, but I use the bush flowers probably just as much. Yeah, but I mean, especially if you're not sure what to prescribe for someone, you'll always get something pretty accurate with the bush flower. But no, I'm happy with them.
Excellent.
What do you do?
And
what
tell
do
me,
do you still prescribe?
I was doing this for personal studies. No, I don't. I'm not a practitioner. I was doing it out of personal interest and heal thyself, isn't it? Healer, heal thyself.
Yeah, and did you get some good remedies?
I'm still working on it.
Oh, okay.
Pardon?
Did you get some good remedies? Yeah. I prescribed some.
Yeah, over the years.
Yeah. I did 3 for Jeff. He said he used them in 3 days, and I'm thinking, oh, that was very fast. But still, I usually tell people to take them for 7. But he took them in. He got through them all in 3.
Yeah. I mean, these days I wouldn't touch stuff with alcohol. So,
I'm
people
very
without
careful
alcohol.
now. I'm very careful not to make them with alcohol now. You don't I'm not a drinker, and I don't drink, so you don't realize that people who used to drink don't want to drink now, and you've got to be careful. So now I ask, but I prefer not to make them with alcohol. But that teaspoon or so of brandy in the bottle is what preserves them. So yeah, they do come with brandy if you don't say you don't want it. But I'm trying to be very.
And you prepare them yourself?
I do. I make them myself. Yeah. And even when I go to the church, I take my bottles, and I take water, and I take everything with me, so I can make them as they prescribe, because everybody's different. Everyone gets something different. I don't think I've made up 2 in a row ever. They're always different. Yeah.
Oh, and they're combinations of the 3 cards that people have picked out. Is that right?
Yes. Even when I don't have people with me, I put my hands on the deck and ask, start visualizing and asking for the cards that are right for this person. And it's nearly always right when I choose them. So, yeah, I don't have anything wrong.
Okay.
I can
well, there's one thing that I do. One thing I do that for propolis, for instance, that does come in alcohol, it's the only way to get it, is to put boiling water in and allow the alcohol to evaporate before using it. So that seems to me to be a reasonable way to get around the issue of alcohol with remedies.
Oh, okay, right. No, I haven't tried that. That's a good way. Yeah.
Okay, and I didn't know whether or not if they're the essences, I'm kind of wondering, would that affect them or not? Just the boiling water, because alcohol will evaporate at 80 degrees. So as long as it's there and you allow it to cool down, away goes the alcohol with a bit of luck and a fair wind.
What if you made the essence and then made the alcohol and let the alcohol cool down and then put the essence in? Would that be the same? Otherwise, you can use glucose. You can use glucose.
Glucose.
I've used glucose to preserve them. Yeah, you can use glucose. But I like the idea of colloidal silver too. It's brilliant if you can get colloidal silver. It'll preserve them. Yeah, good.
Okay, interesting. Just nice swap and exchange of ideas in practice. Very good. How many, in your little biography, you said that you had, is it 3 children? And
yes,
one of your and your son died.
Yes, my middle son.
That must be is that about 10 years ago now then?
Yes, that'd be about 12 years ago.
Oh, 12. Okay. And how did that impact you and the family? Because that's a huge thing to, no parent should really see the death of their children, in my view, but how was it for you?
Well, my older son they were both in their 20s, I guess, by the time Paul died. So they were old enough to sort of cope. So they were married and had families. So, I was back in Queensland with my mum. So, I got over it. It took a while, but I guess the longer it takes, the more over it you are. I'm not sure whether you ever really get over it. I like being I'm a very spiritual person. I can talk to him on the other side if I really get depressed and go into things. Yes. So I like the fact I can talk to people, spirit on the other side. So that's good. I know
the connection is still there.
The connection's still there. Yeah, I know he's there.
That's fantastic.
I know how he's going. Yes. I can't just chop off, sorry. No, he's still there.
Yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, he's part of my life still. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Mind you, all my children are still part of my life. Yeah. But there's a very interesting remedy I was only reading this week homeopathically. They're starting to say the machine you put babies in to x-ray them when you're pregnant is causing a
ultrasound.
Yeah, the ultrasound. Yeah, ultrasound is a homeopathic remedy. So they got everything they found from the ultrasound, because homeopathy is like heals like. And like heals like, they sort of find remedies from what's causing the disease. And they went in to investigate this ultrasound that they put babies in, and they found that there was all these side effects from the ultrasound. So they made a remedy, and they've started giving the remedy to kids, and it calms them down and makes all these real hyper children very non-hyper. So it's been really amazing. So that's one of the big things in homeopathic remedies lately. So they've done provings and creativities at home, and this new medicine is wonderful for bringing down hyperactive children. In fact, I think they even called it I'll find it. Yes, but yeah, so there's some new things coming out in homeopathy. But homeopathy is wonderful in India and Germany and all, but it's not good in Australia. So they pretend it doesn't exist anymore. But it's still here. It's not easy.
Yeah.
In Australia, they don't, you can't buy it at the chemist, and it's not easy being a homeopath in Australia. Whereas I think if I was in Germany or India, all those places, homeopathy is regarded as powerful medicine. But here they like to think, it's just, we don't sell it here. So it's when I started, it was in the chemist shops. You could buy it everywhere. And now, bit by bit, it's less and less. You can't even go to the chemist now. Sometimes you could see a cream with arnica in it, but most of the time it's very difficult to find homeopathy in Australia, which is probably why the bush.
How do you source your remedies?
I make my own and I sell them to my clients when they come. Yeah. As a client comes to see me, somebody rang today to say, the cleaning lady's had a shock. Can you make her a remedy? I thought, okay. So I make her a remedy and they come and get the remedy. But, people ring up all the time for remedies. Yeah, so I make them. I make all my own. Yeah. But you can't go to the shop and just buy something.
No, that's right.
No, it's not good.
Really?
But in England,
surprised by that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I buy a lot
we
of
have
remedies.
A number of
You have enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
we have a number of what they call homeopathic pharmacies, for want of a better description. Helios is a very big one in Neal's Yard in London and Tunbridge Wells. Yes. And you can get your homeopathic remedies in water, distilled water there. They'll make them up. They don't have a huge shelf life, but then if you're using it immediately, it's not a problem. And I'd have thought they could distribute worldwide, but I'm not sure.
Yes, they do. I buy a lot from England, yes. I buy a lot of remedies from England, but you can't just go to the chemist here and buy them in Australia. We've got Martin and Pleasance in Sydney, but that's an online thing, yeah. But anyway, it's not as good as it used to be. It should be, but it's not. They keep saying, homeopathy is not good and all this, but it is good. It's very powerful medicine. Very powerful.
And what's the principle behind homeopathy?
Like heals like.
Like heals like.
Like heals like. You can take something from the disease and make a remedy. If you really wanted to, you can take something from plants and make a remedy. It's like heals like. Remember in the old days, in Egyptian days and things, they say, that flower's to heal skulls because it looks like a skull, or that looks like an eye, so it's just for healing eyes and things like this. And then they'd go and try it and you'd say, yes, it does work. Yeah, so you got to, we're back. Yeah, it's a bit like that. But anyway, we get there. Homeopathy is a very powerful medicine and it works, and it's everything I've prescribed it for has healed and healed very fast. And I still have people who knock on the door and come for a treatment, and you make up a remedy for them. And if you don't know what to make for them, you make them bushflower remedies. They get whatever they need. Yeah. And if I go to the church on the last Sunday of the month, they have a healing day, and we all do healings or readings. And I do the bushflowers there because it's quick and easy. But there's always people tapping me on the shoulder saying, can I have this? Can you make me this? Can you make me that? And the new one out is one for the killing all the worms and things in the body, which is supposed to be a natural remedy for cancer and things. And I was in my room, and it was like these huge angels came down and took me off and showed me how to make it. And so I made it. And, by the end of the week, I had about 20 people wanting remedies for different things. So, yeah, they let you know when you need to make something. Yeah, they're the cards. Yes. Have you made
so this new one for the carry on?
No, I was going to say that I was talking about something else. No, they're all the beautiful flower cards, yes. And see, there's a little writing down the bottom. That's what they're for. So you can always pick a card and know what it's for.
Bit blurry. Sorry about that.
Yeah. The one over to the left is pretty ugly. Grey spider flower.
Oh, yeah, but
it looks like the tentacles of the Hydra in the Greek mythology.
I think that's one when you're going through a change and you're sort of willowing off all that debris you don't need anymore, and underneath is a new plant. That's a good one, actually. It's going through change. Going through change, yes. See if I can pick one for you.
Okay, go for it. Let's see where we're at.
Personal power, taking responsibility. So you got one for responsibility. Nurtures and gives strength to cope with relationship upheaval and inner peace. So you've got one for inner peace and one for taking responsibility.
Interesting.
And this one is lovely. Grounded, focused attention to detail. So I got 3 for you.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And what are the names of the flowers?
Sundew, Red Suva Frangipani, and Southern Cross.
Oh, the Southern Cross. Okay,
You
great.
like
So
Southern
one for responsibility.
Yeah.
One for inner peace and one for attention to detail.
Yes, they're your cards.
Wow, interesting. Very interesting. One of the issues I've had most of my life is too much responsibility.
Right.
Yeah. And a sense that I am responsible for everything. So whatever happens in the world, it's down to me.
Right. Well, it
Not
says
quite,
nurturing gives strength to cope with so it's giving you strength to cope.
Excellent.
And grounded, focused attention to detail. That's probably you. Personal power, taking responsibility. So there you go. That's worth a try.
It's very, very good. Interestingly, just before we started this conversation, I was in connection with somebody who's helping me to really pay attention and take my time to do something, not just to get the aim to launch something for the summer solstice or winter solstice for you on the 21st of June. But we've now fixed a meeting for the 23rd of June to really go and pay absolute attention to detail. So I'm
good.
quite pleased
those
about
cards
that.
are just perfect for you. Those cards are perfect for you. So have you got the flower essences at home? Oh, you can buy them anyway.
No, I can get them anywhere, really. Yeah, super good. And I like the idea of, he did a lot of space clearing as well. The sprays for those. I don't know if you've come across them.
Space clearing. Yeah, I have seen them. I have made some. Yeah, they're good. Space clearing's good. You just need to spray it on your pillow at night before you go to bed. That's good.
Well, there you go.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Not a problem.
And what do you do to relax? Because you're doing all of the homeopathy and the bushflower remedies, you're going to the church regularly and helping other people. How do you help yourself, nurture yourself?
I go to my meditation groups. I have a meditation group I go to on Tuesday nights and usually go out Friday. Yeah. Saturday I play cards. Today I played cards. So cards, I play cards, play canasta.
Canasta.
Yeah, canasta. So there's 6 of us. Yeah, so you got to go. You have to go because, they can't play if you're one short, so you have to go. So it makes you go. Yeah, you feel committed. I have to go. I love my canasta.
Where do they play canasta?
It's been a long time.
No, we used to have 6 aside. Oh, sorry, 6 players. Yeah, 6 players, 3 on a team.
Yeah.
You play with 12 and 13, don't you?
Yeah. Do you remember Glenys Mackay? She still plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I play at her house. Today we played at the club, but I don't know if we're going to keep playing at the club. It's a bit more, but we normally play at Glenys's house. Yeah. She's 88 now, so we were going to move to the club to give her a break, I think, because we've been going there a long time.
I used to play at her place with George.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. She still plays every Saturday, and today it's Thursday, so we've changed it from Saturday to Thursday.
Oh, very good. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
It's a serious card game then.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, it's good.
Playing for Ship Station.
Yeah. Well,
Bragging rights. Yeah. Now, homeopathy. Okay, so the game plan is someone comes in, sees you, you run your eyes up and down, yeah. Have a quick chat. Do you actually sense anything? Pick up any emotional connection there, or you just use the cards, or you use your spiritual connection there?
I use a lot of questions when I've got a client. I ask a lot of questions and balance it out in my head. Sometimes I have to go and do a bit of research and look things up.
Sure.
But most of the time it's just chatting between us, left side, right side, where's your aches, where's your pains, how long you've had it for, where does it come from, how long you've had it. And
sure.
Yeah, so it's just getting all that information. Sometimes it's DNA, it's been there forever, and sometimes it's come from a relative or a past life, or not a past life, but a past relative, mother, father. So yeah, you just get it all together, and then you come up with a remedy and see how you go.
You use muscle
testing.
Yeah, muscle testing.
Yeah, muscle testing. I do muscle testing if I'm doing hypnosis, or if I'm going back into. I've had a couple of clients where I did muscle testing where you go back into a past life to find out what age it stops, where you stop at, and you stopped around 4 or 5, and you get into some. In those situations, I got into sexual abuse type stuff, and you sometimes dealing with sexual abuse, you deal with it differently. So yeah, I deal with sexual abuse more with hypnosis. And that particular case of using muscle testing, we went back to the age of 4. And so, yeah, I take them back to the age of 4, and we put the adult person aside, the child aside, and the adult person comes in and takes over, and they can say what they want to say and do what they want to do. And this particular person came out of it. He said, yes, Robyn. He said, I feel good now. I said, oh, okay. So he was a Navy person, and he, in the meditation, took himself back and blew the orphanage to pieces. Now, this is all in your head and make believe, but he felt good afterwards. So yeah, so when you do the muscle testing, I only do muscle testing when I'm talking about age and I want to go back to a certain age, and you want to know what age you're going back to and they have forgotten or whatever. And it took me back to age 4 or 5, and you work with the client at the age of 5, and then they can overcome issues when they're back in time. And this particular man came back out, and while he was in that deep meditation of 4 years old. He wasn't a child. I took him back as an adult, and he took his Navy ship alongside the wharf and blew the orphanage and the person who had abused him to pieces. So for him, that was resolved. He resolved his issues. He couldn't do that alive, but he did it in his meditation, so he felt good. And a couple of others I've taken back in time, and it's really to resolve an issue back in time. Yeah, muscle testing, it's good for that.
Yeah. I remember a mate of mine, he's now passed away, but he was a photographer, and he was asked if he would go to white lady funerals, and so he turned up, and this lady was in a Mercedes there, and she said, can you just give me 15 minutes? And he said, rightio. So then she comes out, and she's got a wedding dress on, and so he goes in there, and the funeral home is a coffin, and it's got all these rose petals on it. It's got photos of her and her husband at the wedding.
Wow. Yeah.
And so he takes a couple of photos, and she says, well, just need a couple. He said, well, you're going to be paying for the whole reel. It was 36. She said, okay. So she started going back like 18 years old and throwing the leg up onto the coffin, and it's been really fun and all that stuff. Yeah, she's really brought herself out, Anyway, so Joe happened to say to her, I'm sorry to hear your husband passed away. Oh, no. My therapist told me, that bastard, he left me for a younger woman. she told me to go and see him off. He's dead, gone, see you later. So that's what she physically went and did, the process of.
Yeah, well, I guess she coped with it better, didn't she? Yeah, well, yeah. Well, this fellow got his ship out in the ocean and blew it to pieces, and he felt good about it. So,
yeah.
I mean, how do you say, oh, don't feel good about it? I mean, he felt good about it, and I took him there. So, but I don't, when I do that sort of work, you don't sit there and analyze every little bit they're doing or saying, because they're doing it. They're saying what they want to say in their head. They're not talking out loud half the time. But it's that sort of thing that they need to do quietly. They don't need to tell you all the details. So. But they do when they come back.
Sure, I can understand.
Yeah,
it's 1,000 words, isn't it? So when you're creating that picture and then you see the picture,
yeah,
that's the end of that scenario. You're not taking it onto the rest of your life. I mean, isn't there that old saying about the old priest and the young priest, and they come to that stream, and there's a lady there, and then the old fellow puts her on, carts her across the other side of the stream onto the other side of the bank, and carry on walking. And the young priest says, why'd you do that for? He said, well, I left her back on the bank. You've been carrying her all this way. It's all about holding your thoughts, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you a great believer that sometimes your thoughts manifest into a physical organ? Like, say, for example, I didn't see that coming, so you'd be looking at the eyes, or I fed up to the back teeth, or I didn't, like
getting on my nerves.
Can't stomach that. Got a shoulder just beside me. So, yeah.
I've had some people who need surgery and won't have surgery, and the natural medicine's not enough, but they won't go back. That sometimes pisses me off. I think if you want to use natural medicine and your private medicine. Use them both together. Try. Yeah, so not actually piss me off, but it's like, I can say use both. If it's not strong enough, go back to what you had, and then you can halve it and use a bit of this and a bit of that.
So the last technique everybody's been talking about ayahuasca and all that stuff, and other plant medicine type. Yes, toad or cactus. What's the other Indian stuff? Starts with P. Anyway, so have you come across a lot of that in your work where people have had?
They do, but I just don't go into. I don't get into it. I don't even like pot.
Peyote. Yeah.
I don't like pot even. I don't get into pot either. So, I mean, I know pot's supposed to be wonderful and everything, but see, I come from addiction area where you've seen them so crashed they wouldn't even get out of bed to go to the toilet. You know, pot's made them like that. So I've only seen the bad side of all this pot stuff. They keep saying is wonderful. So I don't even get in. I don't get into pot. No, I just stick to what the remedies I know, and I treat them with small doses and then I up the dose and things like that. I don't even do big high doses. But homeopathy you don't need pot and cocaine and all those things. You can get it from other remedies. So I stick to I stick to non-addictive type things. I don't like addiction.
You sure?
So I don't prescribe something I know is going to be addictive. And if they are addictive, I sort of wean them off bit by bit. And then there's a lot of really good programs you can follow homeopathically. There's a fellow in England, I'm trying to think of his name. He's put a book together on how to do it in stages, different remedies and dopamine and things like this, wean them off, and you use dopamine to take them off and things like this. So there's a lot out there now that never used to be. So I stick with what I know. And if I have to do a bit of research, I'll look up what I need to prescribe. I don't prescribe addiction, no. And I don't prescribe pot either. I know people think it's wonderful, but I've seen really bad cases and I think it's not as wonderful as they think. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe they're wrong, but I don't want to get into prescribing pot, because to me, when I was working in detox, the guy who was in bed, who wouldn't get out of bed to go to the toilet, or he'd get up in the morning and pissed his bed, was the pot guy, because they just don't want to do anything. It just, when they're really, really bad, they don't want to do anything. They don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to get out of bed. They just don't want to go to work anymore. It just changes. It changes the brain. So I don't get into pot. I don't want to deal with it. So my remedies will make you well, and the emotional remedies are the bushflower remedies. They're the most brilliant bush emotional type remedies you can find, and it'll also heal bones and things like that. So homeopathy's got brilliant remedies for healing bones and aches and pains and backaches and whatever's wrong with you. You don't need to go into. I know everybody says it's wonderful and that's great. They could go work it all out and figure it all out, but I don't want to know it. So I'm not there.
You know how the medical world has MRIs and X-rays and stuff like that. If you go back into Kirlian photography, I remember when it first came out, it was black and white, and there was a guy at Stone's Corner had the first machine that I'm familiar with in Brisbane, and you would go there and just put your hand in or just do the handprint. Obviously, it's all a long way since then, and it's probably in colour. Have you ever thought of having the Kirlian machine there where a person steps up and you take the photo of their physical body or their eyes or the face or something, or their hands, and then when they have done your prescription on that stuff, they come back and you just keep a little photo image each time with Kirlian to see how their auric field has changed somewhat? Because obviously the homeopathic
before
is really
and after
physical and the emotional bodies, isn't it?
Well, you can usually see that. You can usually see when you're looking at somebody if they're well. You can see those sort of changes when you look. But no, I haven't got a Kirlian photography, no. But if somebody wants to give me one, I'm happy to use it. But
sure, 100%.
No, I haven't got one. So there's lots I'd love to have, but I just don't have. But no, I just use remedies. Someone told me the other day that their baby was born early and they needed their baby had brain damage, and they put their baby on homeopathy for 4 months and there's no brain damage. So they I've seen, and I thought that was wonderful. Thank you for telling me that. So, you can use homeopathy for everything and anything. I just don't know why you wouldn't bother. But there's people who just don't bother, and it's just, I don't know. I've just seen too much success. And when I was in detox, I had a group of 6 bikies come in. Their boss had told them they all had to come in. One of the bikies died from an overdose, and he told them all they had to cut their doses back and whatever. So they came in to do a 5-day detox, and they were just laying there when I pinned their ears for them, and I put some beads on their ears, and I did a meditation, and the boss walked in, and I've got the lounge room covered in these bikies, just laying flat out, deep into relaxation. It worked for them. Acupuncture, meditation, and homeopathy, that's all they needed. And they were just absolutely astounded. We had to shake them awake and say, time for bed, time to get up and go to bed. We were absolutely astounded. So if you said that, you got stoned by beads in your ears and acupuncture and meditation,
I could just see them down the pub talking about it.
Yeah, I had to really shake them awake and say, time for bed, guys, time for bed. Yeah, get them up and go to bed. Yeah, so I just stick with the right stuff. And homeopathy, it's an emotional balance. It's you can use it for sleep. It's attention to details. It clears blocks and base chakras. Its ability to cope. It's just a natural homeopathic remedy. So you can use it for everything and anything. It'll work for you. It'll take your pain away. It'll take your migraine away. It's just, why would you go for something else? Yeah. It's non-addictive. It's harmless. It works. And, I've had so many people who you'd think, oh, was it really working for them? Oh, I had one guy, he just got out of jail, and he came to me because he was addicted and he wanted to get off. And I said, well, that sort of thing only works if you really, really want to, because if you don't really want to, you just tell yourself as soon as you walk out of here, I'll go use. So no, I really, really want to. I've been in jail. I can't go back to jail. So anyway, I was told I wasn't allowed to let him in my house. So I said, okay. So we sat outside under a tree, and I said, I'll do the hypnosis for quit smoking, only I'll change it so it's a hypnosis to quit the drugs he was on. And he said, fine, I'm fine with that. And I said, if you've been in jail, how can you be so addicted? He said, I could get the drugs, so I just couldn't get a needle. And he showed me all these ugly scars up his arm. He'd used a biro as a needle. Oh, it was horrible.
Oh, shit.
Stuff. He said, since I've only been out a couple of weeks, and he said, they're giving me free drugs. I said, oh, well, that's nice. They just want you to get addicted to them. He said, yes, and I can't. I don't want to be addicted to them because I'll be doing crime and I'll be back in jail. I said, all right, well, if that's what you want, we'll do it. So I did a hypnosis. I took him really, really deep and said, you don't need it. You don't want it. You're healed. You don't need to use anymore. And I converted this quit smoking hypnosis, which is about an hour long. It was so involved. And I took him through that. And I did some acupuncture on his ears, and I put the little bead. I said, now, if you get anxious or anything, just press this little bead. And it was on the Shen Men point for relaxation. And he said, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he promised me he wouldn't use. And I said, that's the best I can do. Anyway, I gave him some Nux vomica to take away. And I heard about 2 weeks later, somebody said, oh, he got a job. He moved. He's got a job. He doesn't want anything to do with any of us anymore. He won't have anything to. I said, oh, never mind. You don't need him. No, he was such a bad character. He'd been to jail and he'd stabbed people and all this. And I said, well, he's okay now. He's not near any of you, is he? No, he won't come in. Won't have anything to do with any of us. I said, well, that's good. So he moved away from them all, got a job and stopped using and got his life sorted out. So that was, yes, that was brilliant. Yeah, but sometimes you use a combination of hypnosis and acupuncture and homeopathy, and you just use whatever you can use, whatever's available, whatever you need to use when they come and see. Yeah, so that's good.
I see in your program there that you're Reiki as well.
Yeah, I do Reiki. Yeah, I did Reiki years ago. I still do it from time to time.
Yeah.
But it's all there. There's so many healing things out there now. There's I don't even know half of them, but there's so many out there. You just do what you're guided to do, and it works.
Yeah, sure.
I don't charge heaps. I mean, my consultation fee is $85, but sometimes for the first visit it's $120 because there's so much research I have to do to get the right remedy, and might see them 2 or 3 times, and then the cost of their remedies and things might be a bit more. But keeping the consultation fee down to $85. I mean, I'm aimed at helping people, not overcharging. And I don't, if you've got this, some people charge $200 and $300. I know I did a course for healing. It was when you intuition. It was an intuitive healing course, and I thought it was wonderful, and I got a lot out of it. And when I think one about the last day or something, they were saying, "Oh, well, I'm charging $500 for my treatment." And I'm thinking, far out, $500. And the other girl said, "Yes, I'm charging $300." And I thought, "Oh, okay." I mean, I don't do it publicly, but if I do it sort of part of my treatment, intuitive healing. You intuitively try to pick up what's wrong and what's going on. It's just, but it's still all part of your 85. I can't put this $200 and $300 on things. You're just not there for the right reasons. But you want your clients to come back and get well. They're not going to come back 2 and 3 visits at $200 and $300. That's for sure. Mm. So I stick to my fee.
Very good.
Yeah.
I'll just put some
and
details.
It's enough to keep the wheels of industry turning.
Yes.
It's enough.
Yes. I think so. Yes. Sorry, Jeff.
We only need enough.
Exactly.
Only need enough to keep everything fair. And as long as you're alive and breathing, it's priceless.
Yes, and good things come my way. I'm not worried. Yeah. What were you saying, Jeff?
Do you want me to put this up? Or this is all new, isn't it, this one?
Yeah, homeopathy and natural healing. If anyone would like a consultation, yeah. I'd love to do some online type work. That'd be great.
Do you think there's a difference between doing something online and somebody sitting next to you or sitting under the tree? Does it make a difference?
I used to think there was, and I didn't want to do online, but the more online I do, I get very involved and I feel the energy. Yes, I feel I can treat online as well as I treat face to face. So I'm happy with online. Yes, and I find more and more people are doing online than I was doing. Yes, I sort of always thought, oh no, I don't want to do online, but it's not quite the same. But it's, you can connect really well online. I'm quite happy with connecting online.
Very good.
And do you have any surprise stories of people that have come to you that you had zero expectations and suddenly it bloomed into something different?
There was one lady who came. She blew me away. She had a sugar. She went to somebody and got injected with sugar, and she had all these sugar allergies, and it was really hard to find. It took me ages to work it out, but she didn't believe me. But she was full of all the sugar. Had done a lot of damage to her body, and that was probably. But she never come back after I explained it all to her. So. But yes, she went for some injection, and this fellow he'd injected her, and she knew he injected her with sugar, and she had a lot of damage from sugar.
Well, a solution of sugar.
Yes, yes, and she was in a lot of pain, and all these things I'd come up with just fitted in with a sugar allergy. And I put it to her, and she said, oh, well, he did inject me with sugar. Yes, he did say it was sugar. It was harmless. I thought, well, it's not harmless. It's done a lot of damage. Oh, okay, she said, and off she went. So, yeah, that was probably...
So you don't know what happened?
No. I rang a few times. The boyfriend said, oh, yeah, she's coming back. She's coming back. And I thought, oh, okay. But she never come back. No, but she was injected with sugar. Yeah, that was quite terrifying, I thought. Yeah, no. But anyway,
I've never heard that one.
No, and it causes a lot of damage too, sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I just simply can't imagine someone going to another person to be injected with sugar, which is almost a poison.
And she said she first of all said she didn't know, and then she said, well, he asked me I could inject you with something. She wanted to be injected with something harmless, and he used sugar. And I said, well, sugar's not harmless. It's done a lot of damage.
Oh.
It did a lot of damage. But anyway, that was...
Well, yeah.
So
It is, isn't it, for number one? But then millions and millions of people have got sucked into doing something they shouldn't have done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they paid money for it too.
So anyway, how did you rectify those who were placed in that position in the last 4 or 5 years? Have you had any people who've come to you?
No, I haven't had anyone really bad. I have a lady who comes from time to time, and I help her, and she's decided this remedy won't work at 60, it must be a 30, and she's got all her remedies worked out from her treatments, that if I say, oh, well, I'm going to give you Arnica 30, she said, no, it doesn't. No, I think I was going to give her Arnica 200. She said, no. The only remedies that work for me are 30, Robyn. I just want 30. So I've got clients now who tell me what they want. They're quite used to what I prescribe, and they tell me what they don't want and do want. So I just say, okay, fine, try this first. If it doesn't work, come back and tell me.
So we've seen a lot more people who have got their qualifications from Dr. Google, have we?
Oh, well. Yeah, probably. Yes, I used to prescribe very low remedies too, and I like to raise them up a little bit as if they've been a couple of times, and then sort of put me back down. No, I don't want it that high. I just want the low one. Oh, try a little bit higher. No, I just want the low one. So, yeah, I have people.
But the higher ones are far more subtle, aren't they? Then the higher it goes.
Well, higher
the number.
Yeah. Higher first aid, and then you go lower. Yeah. But 30 is your general. So a lot of people like just 30. So yeah, you sort of squabble sometimes between dose. But no.
So when you say 30, you're talking about milligrams or milliliters?
No, mils.
Mils.
30 size tablets. Yeah, your remedies go 6, 30, 200. And then 1,000, yeah. So you try and stay around the 6 and 30. But if it's a first aid and you want something fast, you go 200. I have another friend who's a homeopath, and he starts everything off with a 1M. It's like give them all a big dose first, and then feed them up, pile up the lower dose. So you find every homeopath's a little bit different. They've got their own way of prescribing. I try and keep mine low. But then I do go high every so often. So it just depends on the case. You can be different all the time. Yeah.
People have been injured and they've got broken bones, and so
yeah. Well, there's a good remedy, bone knit. It's got another name, but it's called bone knit, and it knits the bones. And I've given that to a few people with broken bones, and their bones have knitted really fast. So yeah, you can use bone knit for broken bones.
Oh, right. Because there's that plant, isn't it, they used in the Crimean War when they ran out of plaster of Paris, and then they God, what's the name of that plant? It's a big broad leaf. They used to create a poultice around bones, and around your. God, I can't think of it now. I know the place down at Mudgebar has it. Mudbrick Herb Farm has it. It's also a natural fertilizer too.
Yeah. So
What's the starts with C? You girls carry on, and I'll just go and look.
not Cantharis or something. No. Cantharis or something.
Oh, no.
No.
You're going to have to consult Dr. Google, Jeff.
All right.
Just to jog your memory on everything.
Yeah. I was going to say I've written a book too. It's called AcuDetox.
Oh, yeah.
I got it.
AcuDetox.
Comfrey is a.
Oh, Comfrey. Yeah.
Comfrey.
Comfrey's good.
Comfrey.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Probably the herbal comfrey is better than the homeopathic comfrey, although they're a bit different, I think. Yeah. Oh. I wouldn't prescribe comfrey for the bone. I'd go to bone knit. Yeah. AcuDetox. I put here the 5 points on the ears that you use when you're detoxing. Yeah. The Shenmen, sympathetic, kidney, liver and lung, and clinical procedure for practitioner to use so you can teach practitioners.
Right. And what's the name of the book?
I'm just calling it AcuDetox.
AcuDetox. Yeah. And where can people get that?
Oh, they'll have to ring me. They'll have to send me an email and I'll send it. And there's a practitioner's notes and there's homeopathy in there. Kinetics.
AcuDetox.
I finished it with putting tapping because there's meditation in there, but the last part is the remedies you use: Nux vomica, Avena sativa, arsenicum, album, gelsemium, tobacum, quorum, and sulfur. Different ignatia, natrum miraticum, lachesis, different remedies for different parts of detoxing. And I put another page in the bottom at the back because tapping, people tap around the eye and things like this and down here. And that actually helps. Yeah. That helps.
It does.
With detoxing. Yeah. So I've added that at the end, tapping. That's.
Is that the EFT, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a theory about that.
Do you?
Yeah, that when people start tapping and they get in touch with their bodies and they are distracted away from whatever it is that's bothering them and they're back in the body again.
Oh, okay.
So it calms the mind down. So it's my hypothesis. It's my idea of how I've seen people use EFT or the emotional freedom tapping, to literally take them away from whatever it is they're focused on to bring the focus back into the body.
Yes.
And then when you're back in the body, you're back in a different dimension.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Well, that's just my idea.
It works. It's perfect. Wonderful. Yeah.
Right. So in this conversation, Robyn, is there something that in a subject line that we haven't discussed that you would like to share with the world?
No, I think we've covered just about everything. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for having me on tonight. In your
dreaming a new dream. Yeah. In your dreaming a new dream, in 5 years from now or 10 years from now, what would be your ideal in the world of homeopathy and where you are?
I would just like more. I would like more. Yeah, I would like more online clients. I'd like to be doing more online. I'd be able to be sitting at my computer, resolving some issues and posting off their remedies. Yeah, I'd love to be doing more online. So that would be wonderful. So if anybody wants online prescriptions, let me know. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll send you an email from England and you can send me the book and we can start there.
Wonderful. No worries. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Marvelous.
You'll be the undisputed world champion, Queen of Canasta.
Oh, thank you. Canasta. Thanks, me.
Aha. John, Jeff likes to put a bit of fun in the whole remedy and the whole ingredients of the dreaming the new dream.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Queen Canasta.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Now, do you want me to just log off?
No, wait, we'll just say good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Good night.